Look at the physical pressure applied here. When you press your hand against a stone, the mechanism of perception is obvious. The conscious self bridges the gap to the external world through direct, tangible contact. For the ancient Mimamsa philosopher Jaimini, this requirement of touch was an absolute axiom. Valid perception, or pratyaksha, inherently demands samprayoga, direct physical contact between a sense organ and an object. When applied to the sense of touch, or twagindriya, this contact-based rule operates logically without friction. The skin rests directly against the object being perceived. The mechanical problem arises the moment we apply Jaimini's strict requirement of physical contact to sight, known as chakshu, and hearing, known as shrotra. These senses operate across vast spatial realities. You can see a mountain range on the horizon or hear a clap of thunder originating from miles away. If valid perception mandates physical connection, seeing and hearing present an immediate mechanical paradox. The eyes and ears cannot physically reach out and grab a distant mountain. We will deconstruct the logical trap set by Buddhist philosophers to challenge Jaimini's contact theory, and then map the specific architectural defense Mimamsa uses to resolve it. If Jaimini's definition cannot account for sight and hearing, the Mimamsa method for validating any external reality is compromised at its source. The Buddhist critique, articulated in verse 41 of the Mimamsa Shlokavartika, attacks the core of the physical requirement. Because space exists, they argue, the eyes and ears must be apratyakari, operating completely without physical contact across vast distances. To prove this, the Buddhists deploy two logical traps. The first is the paradox of spatial intervals, or Santaraga Grahana. This diagram illustrates their argument. An observer node represents the eye, facing a near tree and a far tree node. To follow the rule, the eye must physically stretch across space to touch both simultaneously, extracting identical data from the near and far tree. By requiring contact, the critical variable of distance is neutralized at the point of connection. An eye touching a tree 1 foot away extracts the same data as an eye touching a tree a mile away. Therefore, if sight requires physical touch, humans would logically be incapable of perceiving depth or the actual spatial interval between objects. The second logical trap deployed by the Buddhists is the paradox of magnitude. Look at this observer node. How could a tiny organ fulfill the contact requirement with an immense object like a mountain? The physical eyeball lacks the mass to make a one-to-one surface connection with the entire face of a mountain. Based on the stark realities of space and size, the Buddhists conclude that physical contact for sight and hearing is a mechanical impossibility. They propose an alternative. The senses must operate as passive receivers of distant information, entirely decoupled from the requirement of physical touch. This critique functions by weaponizing observable reality, distance, and scale to argue that Jaimini's foundational definition of perception is avyapta, meaning it is too narrow to account for human experience. The Mimamsa scholars reject this conclusion. They counter that the Buddhist critique relies on a misunderstanding of biological hardware. Mimamsa introduces a crucial distinction. The physical organ anchored in the body, the adhisthana or golaka, is distinct from the active, spatially extended sensory field, known as the vritti or rashmi. To explain how an object can be physically anchored yet spatially extended, verse 49 provides the lamp analogy. Here, a lamp base emits an illuminated field intersecting a distant pot. The stationary base physically extends its light outward across space to contact distant objects. In this framework, the light is an active physical extension of the lamp itself, making contact with reality. But watch the dependency variable. If we destroy the physical base, the emitted light field instantly disappears, leaving the distant pot in darkness. This establishes a rule of dependency. Even though the sensory field operates far outside the body, its existence remains anchored to the survival of the physical base, the adhisthana. Mimamsa match this analogy directly back to human anatomy. The physical eyeball remains permanently anchored in the skull, while projecting an active sensory ray out into the world. By decoupling the stationary organ from the mobile ray, Mimamsa rescues Jaimini's axiom. Physical contact is secured not by moving the organ, but by projecting a physical field to bridge the spatial gap. This model invites two immediate questions. What actually powers this emitted sensory field, And how does the brain calculate distance if the field physically touches everything in its path? Verse 50 addresses the power source, establishing a prerequisite for the sensory field to function, Purusha Prayatna, or conscious human effort. In this diagram, the sensory rays are inert. We see the Atman applying an outward vector of effort to drive the vritti through the physical eye. Without this effort, the system fails. If a barrier covers the organ, outward effort is blocked, and data cannot return. With the system powered, Mimamsa can finally dismantle the objection from verse 51, the paradox of calculating spatial intervals, or Santara Grahana. The Buddhist argument contained a structural flaw. They incorrectly assumed that distance is calculated at the exact point where the sensory ray touches the object. Mimamsa and Sankhya scholars correct this. The measurement of distance does not originate at the tip of the extended ray. It originates at the biological anchor. Watch the measurement bracket. The physical organ provides a fixed absolute 0 point for geometric orientation. Distance is the cognitive measurement of the spatial interval specifically between the physical anchor and whatever object the vritti is currently touching. The sensory architecture relies on a division of labor. The emitted ray secures the necessary physical contact, while the anchored biological base calculates the spatial geometry. Mimamsa addresses the Buddhist paradox by showing that physical contact and spatial measurement are handled by two cooperative components of the same sensory system. The realities of space initially challenged the requirement of physical contact for perception. The Buddhists offered a retreat, suggesting a model where the observer acts merely as a passive, non-contact receiver of distant data. This diagram maps the finalized Mimamsa solution, a unified, continuous circuit. The sequence begins with the Atman, applies prayatna, or effort, flows through the golaka, projects the vritti, and ultimately grips the artha, the object itself. Mimamsa maintained Daimoni's axiom by expanding the definition of the sense organ itself, unifying a stationary physical anchor with an active, extended field. These technical distinctions reveal a specific view of the relationship between the observer and the environment. The ultimate epistemological takeaway of the Mimamsa model is a rejection of passivity. Visual and auditory perception are not events where the external world simply washes over a stationary observer. In classical Indian logic, perception is a mechanical, continuous, and active physical extension of the conscious self, reaching out to physically grip reality.